I had always believed that love could heal any wound, and that, no matter how many mistakes I made, my husband would always forgive me. Over the years, we had weathered many storms together, challenges, misunderstandings, even moments of doubt, but I trusted that love would always pull us through. I thought that if I made a mistake, he would be there to comfort me, to tell me everything would be okay. After all, that's how it had been before, right? But this time, things were different. The mistake I had made wasn't something I could easily explain away. It was something impulsive, something I didn't think through, and the guilt weighed heavily on me. I hurt him in a way that felt irreversible, and as soon as I realized what I'd done, the panic set in. I couldn't bear the thought of losing him, of seeing the hurt in his eyes because of my carelessness. I expected him to forgive me, like he always had in the past. I thought that with a simple apology and an explanation, we could move on, as if nothing had happened. But what I didn't expect, what completely stunned me, was his reaction. When I approached him, hoping to talk things through, he didn't look angry. There was no yelling, no outburst of frustration like I feared. Instead, he was eerily calm. He looked at me, his eyes not full of rage, but something I couldn't quite place. It was as though he was seeing me for the first time, but in a way that didn't show the warmth I was used to. "I think we need some time apart," he said, his voice measured, his words deliberate. It wasn't the harsh, emotional response I anticipated, nor was it the forgiving embrace I was hoping for. He wasn't acting out of anger or pain. He was acting with a calmness that made me nervous. I tried to convince him, tried to beg him to see past my mistake. I told him how much I loved him, how much I regretted what I'd done, but he just held up his hand, asking me to stop. "I need to think," he said. "I need to figure out if I can trust you again. I don't know if we can go back to the way we were." I was completely taken aback. I couldn't understand it. This wasn't what I had expected at all. My mind raced with thoughts. How could he be so calm? Why wasn't he angry? Was he really thinking about leaving me? We had been through so much together, and I thought love would make him forgive me, no questions asked. But this wasn't forgiveness. This was a distance I had never felt before. Days turned into weeks, and his behavior toward me didn't soften. He wasn't cold or cruel, but there was a distinct emotional barrier between us. He was kind, but distant. He went about his daily routine as if I were just a roommate, not someone he was deeply connected to. We spoke, but only about the necessary things. There were no more long talks about our future or late-night conversations about our hopes and dreams. It was as if we were strangers again. Every time I tried to apologize, to explain myself, he would listen, nod, but say little. His face was unreadable, and I could tell that no matter what I said, it wasn't changing anything. I began to feel like I was losing him, like the more I tried to pull him back, the more he withdrew into himself. Then, one evening, he sat me down in our living room. He had a calmness in his eyes, and he handed me a letter. At first, I didn't understand what it was. But as I took it from him and unfolded the paper, I realized it was a detailed list. A list of everything I had done wrong, not just in that moment, but throughout our entire relationship. Every small mistake, every time I let him down, every time I ignored his feelings, it was all written there. "I've been thinking a lot," he said, his voice almost a whisper. "This isn't just about this one mistake. It's about everything. I've been patient with you for so long, but I need to know if you understand what you've done, if you can truly see how your actions have affected us." As I read through the letter, my heart broke. I had never realized how much I had taken him for granted. There were so many things I had overlooked, so many times I hadn't been there for him the way he had always been there for me. I had always thought that love was enough, that as long as we loved each other, everything would work out. But reading his words, I realized how wrong I was. Love isn't just about affection and desire. It's about respect, understanding, and being there for each other, even when it's hard. The letter wasn't just a list of grievances. It was a reflection of all the ways I had failed him, of all the times I hadn't lived up to the person he thought I was. And it hurt. It hurt more than anything because I finally understood that I wasn't just asking for his forgiveness. I was asking for him to ignore the years of neglect, of unspoken resentment, of things left unsaid. I was asking him to pretend that everything would be okay because I said I was sorry, but that wasn't enough. "I'm not doing this to hurt you," he said after a long silence. "But I need you to see this. I need you to understand what I've been carrying for so long." The weight of his words pressed on me, and for the first time, I saw the depth of his pain. He wasn't being cruel or unforgiving. He was trying to show me how much I had taken from him, how much he had given without asking for anything in return. And as I sat there, I realized that forgiveness wasn't something that could be given so easily. It was something that had to be earned, something I needed to prove. Over the next few months, I made a decision to change, not just for him, but for myself. I started paying attention to the little things. I started listening, really listening, to his needs, his feelings, his concerns. I stopped assuming that love would just smooth over every mistake. I began to earn his trust again, slowly but surely, by proving that I was willing to change, to grow, and to be a better person, not just for him, but for the life we had built together. It wasn't easy. There were moments of doubt, moments when I wondered if he would ever truly forgive me. But with time, I began to see glimpses of the man I had fallen in love with. His warmth started to return, not because I expected it, but because I had worked for it. Slowly, the emotional barrier between us began to break down, and I realized that love, true love, wasn't about expecting forgiveness without change. It was about earning it, proving that I was worthy of the second chance he had given me. In the end, we didn't go back to the way things were. We rebuilt something stronger, something deeper. It wasn't about the forgiveness I had expected. It was about the work we both put in to understand each other, to grow together, and to rebuild the trust we had lost. And while it took time, it was the most rewarding journey of my life. To everyone, that's the story. Share your thoughts in the comments about these events and how the characters behaved, and thank you for listening till the end. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel.